their mages created like a tunnel, like a opening, a gateway through the plane of water that just essentially routed a river through the city to go just in and out of the city. That's how they got their fertile land. That's how they got their access to water. And also in cases of emergency, if they needed it, would be food. They just hunted the things that came out of the plane of water.
The gods that come from that plane, Triton gods, just come by and just wipe the city off of the face of the material plane. And it's like, what's going on? It's like, you guys have been shitting in my plane. It was cool. You guys wanted a little passage. I get it. You make a little tunnel, portal here, portal there. Easy. No problem. But the moment you started putting your sewage into the river, I get to you, this is just another fucking river. Welcome to Take the Damage podcast by Unfortunate Ones. I'm Sav.
I'm Nix.
And I'm Graythorn.
And today's topic is 12. 12 is maps. Oh, good. Maps. Fuck them. Thanks for listening to the podcast.
You got to give it like 8 seconds before you start cussing, man. You know, you really ruin a lot of the algorithms.
You know, it ruins the algorithms, hitting record early.
Technically, it gives us a little buffer so we can say
That's true.
bad words.
That's true.
It's funny because the funny thing about this topic is that Sav here hates maps as it is.
As a DM.
As a DM.
Obviously, as a
You
player.
fucking
like,
love
there
him as
are-
a player.
He hates the maps.
You at least before, during Lord's Fall, you were one of the first players to ask for maps. You made friends with the fucking.
Oh, I think we're talking about battle maps here. Yeah, world maps, sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think maps in general.
For the record, I mean, general topic. But for the record, I just wanted to go to the store so that my character narratively had a map. You were the one that promised me a map. And yes, I did bug you about it.
Well,
But I just wanted to...
I didn't know that as a DM. All I saw was a player going into a store wanting a map. I was
Yes.
like, well, I guess you want a fucking map of this city now, so I
I
gotta
never
build
once
that.
asked you to draw me a map. I wanted to purchase a map of the world, and then through RP, you offered me a map of the world, this city, in various degrees from low detail to high detail, and cities of other maps within the world. And in my mind, as a new player, I was just like, yeah, and my character will have that in their pocket.
Yeah.
And then you started promising me maps, and then you started being like, oh, it's a little overwhelming because you asked for the detailed maps. Like, I didn't mean to ask for any of this. I didn't think you were gonna go draw me something.
Well, I think part of the how that escalated was I think I had a world map already made,
Yeah.
and then you went into a store asking for a specific, like the city map. And I don't remember in the conversation.
Well, no, I went into the store to buy that map. Like, you had that on presentation, but I wanted narratively my character to have that map with details like names.
Yeah, and then I think it was either you, and then also like just the idea at the table of like, oh, we can get maps.
Yeah.
You and Ace were like, Ace was a map hungry fucking little monster.
I didn't expect them to be drawn.
Yeah.
To be fair, I narratively wanted my character to have a map.
I also was like, as a like first time really diving deep into being DM.
Yeah.
Like map making is cool to me. Like generally world map making.
World map making.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
City map making, meh. And then battle map making. I think they're fun to play on, but it's like a level of it's just like a different type of fun to me. The difference between theater of the mind battle maps and physical battle maps or digital battle maps. Either way, we can talk about all of that. But to me, it just feels different. I don't need any of it. I don't need a world map either.
I agree with you on not needing it.
Yeah.
I think you can. I think it really does depend on your table, but like if you and your friends or you and the table are like, hey, we don't have you guys tried Theater of the Mind? Oh, we don't really need maps. You can have a great time. You can have a great battle, and things can be perfect, and it can work out. But I do, and when I do play, I do like having battle maps. I like having the chess pieces. I like having the like knowing where you're positioned exactly, and kind of like knowing that there's objects on the field that you can kind of hide behind, and like not asking for it, like asking for the DM to describe the world. And like if it's theater of the mind,
Yeah.
being like, oh, you're in a church. There are pews and there are columns, and
I don't think I'd have a preference though. Like I've played both. I don't think I would have a preference. Like if it was requested like, "Oh, I have all of these battle maps. Do you want me to bring them?" Like they're already made. Do
Yeah,
you even
sure.
want me to bring them? I'd be like, "Nah, up to you."
yeah.
I really don't care. I'll have fun playing on your physical battle map. I'll have fun playing on a 3D battle map or a 2D battle map,
I think the
whatever.
3D maps were pretty cool when we did that.
I would like to experience physical ones, like the modular ones, because I've never
Oh,
experienced
sure.
that. Yes, when we were doing
Like in
in
3D
COVID
software.
times
Those,
in
those
3D
things
software,
are so cool.
Those were so cool, dude.
That
I
was
love
cool.
that.
His Mad Max one I think was my favorite.
The Mad Max one was cool.
that was pretty fun.
I
I'm not
liked
gonna lie, that was
all
a
the
good
different
time.
setups we did. Were like just having like the weird environments or the weird scenarios, all having maps and everything.
It was fun, but again, if Gray was to be like, okay, we have this whatever Delta Green, whatever, I have battle maps of whatever variety. I have digital, I have paper, I have 3D, whatever environment. Do you want me to bring them? I think I would be indifferent. I think like, oh, I mean, if you want to, I'm fine with theater of the mind. I'm fine with 3D or 2D or whatever battle maps. Like for me, it's just a different style of play.
Sure.
Because like there's also a cool thing with theater of the mind, which is like no one's asked about this, so it doesn't necessarily exist, but it could exist. And the DM can think of something on the spot and it doesn't feel like it came out of nowhere because there is
Sure.
no physical map. Is just a nice thing that you can do in theater of the mind. Also like not having to worry about some stats your if the DM thinks you're doing something cool or whatever and they're like, "Oh, am I in range?" and the DM could be like, "Yeah, you're in range."
It's also
Theater
like
of the mind, yeah, you're in range, it's fine. But it's also nice when you have something more like complex, like a very complex battle, to be able to just measure yourself in between turns to know how far things are. I think there's just pros and cons to both
Yes.
to the degree that I don't care
I think like
as a player.
the theater of the mind makes it so that your battle map, your battle itself, the actual environment can be way more dynamic.
Yeah.
Because you can just kind of have things happen and your players could move and cover huge distances.
Yeah.
And like a lot of shifting. It's hard to do if you had a physical map.
Oh,
Like,
it's my biggest gripe with maps in general. We should really at some point, by the way, dive this down to a subtopic, talk about that for a bit.
we are currently, I think, it's
we're
battle
we're
maps.
like splashing all over the place.
Yeah, I think currently in this part of the conversation, we'll talk about battle and battle-oriented maps.
By the way, it's already happened. We went 2 episodes as a 2-person podcast, and now that we're back to 3, we're back to 2.
yeah. I've been waiting for an opportunity to look over at Gray to be like, now it's Gray's time.
Y'all motherfuckers don't shut up.
Yeah,
We
it's
really
That's just
don't.
what I'm saying, man.
Hey,
we
hey, hey.
really don't. My biggest gripe with battle maps is there's a need to draw your players to a specific location narratively in order to be able to utilize your battle maps. And that's not how any of my games run. And it's like, yeah, you can, whenever you want to pop off, wherever you are. I don't care if you're in the bar, if you're on the street, if you're in the woods, do what you want to do. And then we can just do it through theater of the mind. But when you have a battle map, it's like, okay, well, I have a clearing in the woods battle map. I gotta get my players to the clearing in the woods in order to make that work.
If you're talking about like pre-made maps like that versus
Yeah.
like having the grid and drawing it out with like markers.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't bother me.
I use both, but I mean, when it comes to using pre-made maps, you can still have a pre-made clearing in the woods encounter. You don't have to necessarily drive them there. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, you're in the woods, and you know what? You guys are gonna fight something, so I'm just gonna use that map that I made like 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And here's a horde of kobolds in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. I just mean if you have this big like designed boss fight type
Well, yeah.
map,
I mean,
you gotta drive your characters
I
there.
don't
It works in dungeons
make
easy.
battle maps often, My players really like them when I do, and I really like having Foundry automate things like line of sight and walls and doors.
It's cool.
It's very cool. It's really fun. I think it's useful. But whenever I make a map, it is for a specific thing, generally. And like if they don't go to it, then it's like, well, I made it, and I like it.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind,
I'll use it somewhere else.
Yeah, in my mind, when you're talking about like a very specific kind of map that you drive your character, like in the potential that you're maybe driving your characters to that location, to me that'd be like, oh yeah, this is like a boss, quote unquote. This is like an event that's happening at this particular place. Because other than that, like it would just be generic outdoor map, generic urban map.
Oh yeah, but then you have to collect those. It's a totally different. Like you can't just. I mean, someone that does it all the time and plays digitally all the time, like Gray, and deals with battle maps like Gray, you probably have a store of maps with tags that you can quickly search through, woods or whatever. But if you don't have that, you just don't have the map. Like if they start some shit in the woods and you don't have a battle map for the woods, you can't take 15 minutes to go find one. So
yeah, but at that point, I just do a pen and paper map. Just draw on the empty grid. Foundry.
I just skipped the part where I prepped and then my prep goes to the trash can and I just do the pen and paper one.
I was about to ask, do you do a lot of pen and paper maps or is it all?
I don't do a lot of combat. When I do combat, I do a lot of I wish it worked like when we were playing at a home table. I wished any of the VTTs worked like a normal whiteboard. I hate the control. They're like, or just even being more like Affinity Photo or Photoshop or any of those. Like, why are they their own style of
VTT,
tools?
but it's Paint.
Yeah, Paint would be fine. I really don't like the drawing tools in any of the VTTs. But yes, I do use them. I have in all of my games as one of my scenes pre-made. Or like preset up, just a battle grid. And then if I need to pull people on there, I'll pull people on there. If the environment needs to be created to any degree, like I'll just like draw out a box and I'm like, this is a building. It's just a square.
I mean, I haven't used the any of like Foundry or any of those VTTs. Is there like could you have like
there's
pen
no
and paper
layer system. That's the biggest problem.
Because like in pen and paper map, because saying that their tools are bad, you just like you need to take at least 5 minutes, maybe less 2 minutes to like, oh, you circle this area. This is woods, and you kind of like draw little trees on it, and this is a rock or whatever.
You can do it. I do it.
I'm just saying. So like, if you had a VTT, would it be reasonable to have like asset library where you're just like dragging and dropping?
Yeah, then Foundry,
you can
set up an asset library in Foundry. And
you can absolutely do that, but then you're going back to, and it's fine, but you're going back to collecting all of those assets, making sure they're available to you within the VTT, blah, blah, blah. I just whiteboard it.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, if you wanted that up visual, wouldn't it be roughly this equivalent amount of time? Like, instead of like drawing a little circle?
Instead of drawing little circles
No?
to drag trees in?
No, because, so like, when I make the maps on Foundry, you have to upload the things to the Foundry folder, and then you got to dig through the Foundry folder and drag them into the thing.
Okay.
And
yeah, but if you already had that set up,
yeah, I already do.
If you already had trees set up, and then your adventuring party went out into the woods, and you're like, I'm gonna throw something at them because they're out in the woods and they shouldn't be there, and then it's like, okay, boom, combat. I think his question is, because you already have them set up, is it quicker to bring in those trees or quicker to just squiggle in trees?
Well, not necessarily quicker.
Squiggle.
Is it like roughly equivalent?
Yeah,
time?
roughly equivalent, yeah.
No, it's faster to just scribble things
Just scribble.
sometimes.
Yeah.
The major issue with making maps and VTTs, like if you want to use the pen and paper style, just drawing lines with the marker kind of thing, is that when you do it into Foundry or Roll20, it creates every line as its own entity.
Yeah.
So like if you want to make a circle, like, okay, this is a dome, guys, and one of your guys is like, well, I want to punch a hole through the dome. You can't just erase part
Oh,
of that
it
circle.
like vectorizes the
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Well, and then also, I don't think it being individual entities is actually a problem if, like any of the other suites that I was talking about, if there was a layer system and you could view the layers
Yeah, that too.
at all, but you can't.
I think there's a 2 front and 2 back in Foundry. Is that? I'm not sure. Maybe.
Oh
maybe
yes,
it's like
there is. There is.
Yeah.
No. There's up and down. I don't think there's a 2 front and 2 back. There might be if you right click.
Might as well be the same thing if there's only one
whatever.
layer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was about to say because like Blender has like a whole thing like in its grease pencil and one of its like functions where you draw on like a vectorized line, but you can erase the line. The way it does it, it's like in your vectored line is all these different points,
Mhm.
and so when you
Yeah.
erase, it's able to reconstruct that erase.
Oh, I
properly.
mean, the lines even in the freehand tools are pretty jagged in Foundry, so I'm guessing it's the same thing.
The where I was going with that is like that was like I think a year and a half ago, it was like a brand new thing that everyone went crazy for with Blender. Where like Grease Pencil has this new innovation with how it handles vectorized images. I can't imagine Foundry is like, yeah, we have that too. It's like, no, that was a whole thing. Like a whole team worked on
Yeah,
that.
but we're not talking about that quality.
Yeah.
We want Microsoft Paint from the 90s. Can we just erase things?
I wonder if there's some reason why they don't go raster. Because to me, that seems like a super.
Foundry is it's a Chromium JavaScript program, so I'm not sure if
okay.
that matters.
I don't know if that matters either. I think raster is a lot heavier to like deal with. Also, it's zooming in and out is like you get the pixels and everything.
Mm.
So I don't know if there's some decision somebody made where like we're going vector, not raster.
Map making programs for D&D or TTRPGs in general just historically suck.
Yeah, historically subpar.
Like even like the old long running ones, like Cartographer, I don't know, CC3.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to even work it. I've tried multiple times. It's arcane to me,
Mm.
and it's just impossible to figure out.
I like Dungeon Draft.
Dungeon
but
Draft is
it's-
pretty good.
It's pretty broken though.
It's still pretty bad, but it's still
for
pretty good.
TTRPG. Yeah, I hear was it Incarnate is decent as well.
I haven't used it. I think I've used a free version of it, but it seemed okay.
Yeah, but they're same problems with the layers and just bugs. Just bugs. Like you click over here and you click
Yeah.
back and like.
I imagine they're pretty small teams, and I don't know how well
Oh, I
supported they
imagine
would be.
tiny. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Incarnate's probably decent, but Dungeon Draft seems tiny.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I think the where I lean on like at least battle maps is I can play Theater of the Mind. And I like Theater of the Mind, and it's really fun. And there's nothing stopping you from having a really good time. But I think I lean a little bit having a preference of having like an actual map because it just lets certain things happen, like the actual like wargaming chess piece.
The rule. Yeah.
The like really knowing like the angles and distances and like cones and whatever of your abilities and like
Fucking
really
loser.
playing really playing with like the numbers of your stuff, you know. To me that's like
For a totally different reason. I liked when we did Realm Watchers, which was primarily Theater of the Mind, because you're immersed the whole time.
Sure.
And then I like even when you're doing the whiteboard stuff, when it's like for reference, air quotes, reference purposes only.
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't break my immersion. I think actually when you start getting into like really good battle maps and really good like 3D maps and or whatever, VTTs or 3D, I think it kind of breaks my immersion.
really
I'm no longer sitting in my head, I'm looking at an image. And then like the styling of the image changes things. Like maybe I have this really fucking gritty Game of Thrones image in my head of things,
it's,
and
like,
then I look at it and it's like
oversaturated.
it's like pixel art or something like that, and it's like
There's
cute
happy
little
little
cartoons
shrubs,
and
like,
happy
yeah.
little shrubs, and I'm like, oh, this has ruined it for me. It's broken my immersion.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, there's also just things like like so many times. I feel like every time I've ever been a player in an online game, which is not that many, but it has happened, and people are using these maps and whatnot. And maybe this is just me, but like I kind of become, I guess, interested in the map, and then I'm like, hey, is this piece of wood here on the map? And almost always the response I get is, oh no, that's just the map. That's how I found it. You know what I mean? Is this campfire really over here? Is there anything going on there? Why is there a campfire over here? Oh no, that's just a map. That's the way it came. And it's like, oh.
Well, the problem is that the correct answer is yes, it is there.
The correct answer is always yes. And there's something over there.
If you don't want it to be there, you open up a program and just paste something over it. All right, there's plenty of grass textures and ground textures. You could just go, you know what, campfire be gone.
There's just a sticker of grass over it.
Exactly.
I think I just start taking the map so literally is more my overarching point.
I'm just curious because like we have players that we know like Lucky, who when we had a conversation that like when we first started really switching over to Theater of the Mind, like where he was like, oh, I
don't want to play if we don't have maps.
like I wouldn't even want to play that game. And it's like like wow, to me it's wild to be that averse to it.
Yeah.
Part of me gets it. Again, it's that chess piece part of the game,
which is very much how I think his mind works.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you are interested in maps. I think is kind of how his mind works anyways.
Yeah, I think having like being able to see it, like how you say, like, oh, it breaks your immersion. But I think for me at least, and I'm trying to take the viewpoint of Lucky, which is like being able to see the pieces and see how everything moves adds to the game versus detracting from the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I'm a very big fan of that, like, more wargamey aspect of combat.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I like, Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, Divinity Original Sin.
I really like when it exists.
I gotta fucking play that game.
You really should.
Oh, yeah. Same. Literally, I was playing my own homebrew campaign, and they were like, oh, so it's basically Baldur's Gate. And I was like, well, it can't be, because I've never played Baldur's Gate. Any of them. So I definitely didn't steal this. I enjoy that kind of board game-esque style of play when we have maps. I think I just enjoy it more when we don't, and it's more narrative and RP driven.
Gray, where do you lie in terms of like I'm just trying to figure out, because we have that at the table, we have that swing of like Gray, it prefers being the DM over being a player. Sav prefers, you were either?
Yeah,
you're
I
like
like
50-50. I like being the player more than the DM. Where do you sit on like having the map? Like having maps, playing on
hold
maps?
on, because there's a big difference as a player.
Well, sure. That is a big difference as a player.
Oh, because my answers are totally the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, not
as a
totally
player,
opposite.
I'm okay with not having them, but I do prefer them.
You do prefer
greatly. As a DM, I wish I always had a map for every situation.
Like greatly prefer?
Greatly prefer.
Okay.
Do you, because of that want as a DM, do you find yourself trying to accomplish that? Having a map for as often as you can?
If I had the time, I would have a map
if you had
for
the time.
any situation.
That's a
if
big
I
thing.
had the time.
Yeah, that's
sure.
a big
Because
thing.
one thing I really like to do is because sometimes I'll just have a map if it's not even a combat situation. If they're in like a town square area, and there's like a map, and there's streets, there are people, I'll populate the map with the people, and then maybe my players are talking to something. Maybe I'll give them a cone of vision so they actually can't see beyond this, right?
Yeah.
180 degrees. Maybe in someone's corner of the eye, there's a person with a hood just sneaking out of the alleyway and then disappearing back into it as soon as they rotate their character's vision in that direction.
Yeah.
It's things I like to do, like visually sometimes.
That's for you, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Like, if they're not seeing it, but you're still moving this piece as they're talking.
You're sitting there
I'm
moving
just
shit
sitting there.
around.
I'm playing NPCs on the map while talking to the players.
I get it.
I like doing that kind of
Oh
stuff.
no. I'm right there with you, bud.
I love adding the idea of like
It sounds so distracting as a DM.
we're talking to a person, we're talking to a merchant, we're trying to haggle or get some information out of him, and there's just someone spying on them. And it's a lot easier, in my opinion. I think I feel like it's better in a narrative sense if that person spying on them is visible to the players when they're paying attention to them, as opposed to me going, "Oh, hey, roll perception check." You see something out of the corner of your eyes, and so instead, I just say, "Hey, they have a cone of vision. Maybe I can up or lower the cone of vision depending on their passive perception, and then just play with that little guy in the hood sneaking around the corner."
If there's a particular like character that's the same character in every single place that these characters are going,
exactly, and they might notice them.
Somebody notices it. I get that. Like,
I think it's neat.
yeah,
I would never do it. I think maps are neat. I think if I had a map guy that was just making maps for my every idea that I maybe will use or not use, maybe I'd use maps. I don't think I'd ever do that. I don't think I'd ever do that because that's, to me, it's too distracting. I would want to be in the conversation and like thinking about trying to move things in, like basically a video game, trying to move this NPC over here in and out while people are talking. That would distract me.
I mean, it's one of the shorts I made from one of our previous episodes, which is some DMs, again, are just multi-threaded. Gray has a couple extra cores. He got some multi-threads going on because he's talking in his Discord. He's fucking chatting it up. It's you had your buddy talk to you about classes and like different.
And then I have to end the conversation because I'm going into the game as a DM, and I can't do anything else or focus on anything else.
I think what Gray is talking about, I would love to do as a DM. But I think I'm so forgetful as a person, and I'm so like absent-minded so many times, where I'm just like, I would want to do it. And as soon as the thing is over, I'm like, oh fuck, I should have done that. That would have been cool.
It just sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah.
Same with map making. I know how to make maps. I like making maps occasionally, but like, it's so time-consuming. And then you might not even use it.
Yeah.
And kind of like the way I write my campaigns, I would have every map be so like purposefully built. All of the maps I've ever built are so purposefully built that it's like, well, it's not just a clearing in the woods, right? So I'm never going to reuse this.
Yeah.
I mean, I love having them. I love having the maps for the situations. When I make my short campaigns, map, everywhere. It's great.
Now,
go look at them on my YouTube channel.
If we
the
were
name of this game,
plug.
Shout yourself out.
Shout it out.
I forgot the name of the game. His Will Eternal. There we go.
Hey,
Intermission
you are in the
Campaign 2.
middle of your own plug, and you're like,
and they're great. They're fantastic. They're so shit, but man, do I love them. Love them.
I think, if we get more successful, I would love for us as a company to just spunk money on modular maps.
Sure.
Because I could see getting into that.
Oh, dog.
I could see being real
If I
real
had
fun.
so much excess money to like just have like the ultimate level of fun with D&D. Yeah, we'd have a fucking like giant wormwood table, the sunken in one, and we'd have these big modular pieces, and I would pay a guy to set up areas.
I
and
almost did this when we were playing G&G. I genuinely almost spunked so much money because there is no just thing that you can buy. I wanted to buy every different version of Cowboys possible in Legos.
That's
and
funny.
then have our game table just be one big flat. And then like, oh my God, if we had real money, I would go out and I would just buy us trees and castles
That's
and
hilarious.
swords. And I would just do Legos.
Yeah.
And you just click them into place. You want to move your character, click it out, click it over here. Our flat we would custom paint it with like spray paint. So it would be a hex grid. And
during Lord's Fall, I never got around to it. I started building it. I started making modular pieces to 3D print. So I was going to have it. So I was going to come to the table one day with like a whole assortment of like 3D printed objects, and I would be able to build the map as you guys are playing it and like move. You guys could move through it and all that stuff. The only thing is, the first stuff that I was building in this modular map stuff were all like my castles and dungeons and like the places where you're kind of confined. So, and then the tragedy of my players like, oh, sewers? No, I don't want to go to
We don't want to go to your dungeons.
Oh, there's an abandoned castle in the distance? No, I don't want to go
Leave it
there.
alone.
Cave full of monsters.
No.
No, there's some guy talking funny over there.
Oh, that Cyclops. Oh, his dead body is also outside of this cave. There's a cave right there.
Leave it
Well,
alone.
we were going somewhere. Let's keep going. He's like, son of a bitch, you fucking assholes.
If we really made it and we got rich, instead of having like, a lot of these big shows like Dimension 20 and whatnot,
Sure.
they have like a map guy.
Yeah.
Instead of having a map guy, we just go through other avenues and find one of these Lego engineer guys
Oh my god.
who like professionally build Lego sets and whatnot out of pre-existing pieces and just be like, here's your budget. I need a Western boomtown for this session. Make me a Western boomtown. We just have a Lego guy.
Oh man.
God, if we had Critical Role money, we would waste it so quickly.
Oh dude, it would be gone. It would be gone. That's the thing. It's like, if I made money, if there was a source of income from something D&D related or TTRPG related, that money would be in and out of my hands so fast because it would just be, I'd be just buying things related to fucking TTRPGs because I have problems and it would be like, oh, I could feed my problems. Like this thing that I'm doing feeds addictions. Cool.
I don't know. I think I'm out of my dice buying stage. Like when originally I was like buying all these cool sets and metal dice and whatnot, and not understanding, looking across the table at an experienced DM being Gray, where he just has all of these multicolored plastic crappy cheap dice, and I didn't really get it back then, and now that's me. I really hardly use my metal dice. And I just use plastic dice. At this point, also, I use digital dice. In my games, online, by the way, a little bit odd as a DM. Everybody questions it. But whenever I get a new player, I'm like, oh, yeah, also, like, you could just roll physically. I don't care. Like, if it becomes a problem, I'll just ask you to roll digitally. But it's not become... I've been doing this for over a year. I've never felt like people are fudging things. So, like, I allow my players to roll physically.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I just roll with I don't care. I don't care if I have bad luck. I don't care if I don't trust the algorithms. I don't care anymore.
In that same vein, in my Amazon cart for like 2 years at this point, there's a set of bullet-shaped dice.
Yeah.
That are just sitting there.
Oh, I do. So I want that one for like the home table for being able to roll for your guys' deaths.
Yeah.
I have one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm out of my
I think
addiction spending for TTRPG, which is good because if we ever get successful, it'll all be like pragmatic purchases.
I think you say that now.
Because I don't have money.
Because yes, I think if you all of a sudden had like the ability to have a little bit of a luxury income flow that you could spend into your
I'd just
your
be printing
TTRPG.
out full-size maps. That's where I'd be wasting my money.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be using the 3D printer and to do some of it, but
No. I mean like posters.
oh, you mean like 2D?
yeah,
maps.
full-size maps, posters. That I think like that and paying people to make really nice world maps.
To me,
and
that's
shit
like
that.
a lot of luxury income, not a little bit. Like
What, maps?
No, to pay a guy to do that.
Oh, to pay a guy, yes.
Yeah,
I don't think I would go too crazy if I just had money. Also, what the fuck is our topic? We're so far.
Maps.
Maps. Yeah.
I kind of accidentally got there wanting to purchase large posters of maps.
You did. Yeah, we went off the rails a little bit.
We went off the rails pretty big time. Oh, it's because we were talking about getting a Lego guy.
Lego battle map.
I would absolutely love Lego battle
That'd be really
maps.
cool.
And you
Yeah,
could
that
just
would be fun.
pluck out your little character off of wherever he's sitting and pluck him in somewhere else and snap him in or whatever. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great.
It'd be sick. You could have like a little box of spells, of spell pieces, and it's just like a little fireball. A little
Oh, and if you were really active about moving your pieces around, like video the whole thing and put it in a time lapse.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
See if your little Legos moving all around the map in a time lapse. That'd be fun. We tried doing that when we were doing the like 3D game stuff, like when we were
Yeah,
during COVID.
I tried doing that with the Mad Max thing, and then I forgot to move the time.
Yeah,
I was so bummed out. That was
Yeah.
after the first mission too, so we just stopped doing it.
yeah.
But yeah, I forgot to because like I had automatic.
I tried doing it once too.
I had the automatic keys set,
yeah.
in 3ds Max, and then as we moved our characters and whatnot, I was supposed to move the time slider, but I totally forgot.
Yeah, that was a really fun time to like. It was like a lot of my majority of like learning Blender was like I wanted to make a hex grid map in 3D, so I made this huge hex grid map, and like I made like boats and all these different little towns and all this whatever. Like it was super like learning how to like do like the real time rendering. I was like, this is really cool. It was really fun to have those 3D maps, but you know, COVID was COVID. You had time.
So much fucking time, yeah. I had time to spend a month on a one shot.
You weren't doing nothing else.
Oh, lovely. All right, I think this is a good time for our sponsors.
We could go to a sponsor.
Yeah, go for our sponsors.
Let me just on time do the music.
Right on cue, yeah.
Right on cue.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Come on, everybody. Let's get hyped.
Let's go and roll
Yeah.
on the loot table. Let's go and see
Let's
who
do it,
our
everybody.
sponsors will be.
Come on.
It is really convenient to have
Let's
that
go.
Let's go roll on the loot table.
in the actual like audio file.
Oh, yeah. Makes editing way better. All right, today's sponsor is Wormcraft.
Adventurers, I'm going to give you a second to put the halflings away. Are they gone? Good. Let's talk about stuff. I know you can't see it, but I am raising my eyebrow and giving you a nod. Stuff. You ever come home from a quest and think about things? Wild things? Wormcraft knows what you want. The folks at Wormcraft have a grand assortment of meticulously crafted toys and accessories tailored to discerning tastes of explorers of all kinds. Fancy the strength of a mighty minotaur? The majesty of a proud dragon? Or the wild coil of a serpentine lamia? Wormcraft offers adventurers of all persuasions a chance to indulge in their biggest fantasies. Still need some added spice? Ever desire the viscous embrace of an ooze or a gelatinous cube without the slow, painful death by gooey sentient acid? Wormcraft has the toy for you. Wormcraft even has a host of secondary accessories to make your alone time even more enjoyable, whether it be specialized potions to enhance your experience or unseen servants to provide a more hands-free and automated experience.
That would be nice.
There is something to scratch every itch and fill every niche. And if you use our limited time coupon code WIMA at checkout, you'll get one wand of prestidigitation to make your experience feel a little more natural. And when you're done, make cleaning up as easy as a flick of your wrist. So what are you waiting for? Go wild. Get Wormcraft.
You know what that commercial just made me realize? If I was a wizard, I'd be a pervert. I'd be a pervert wizard. There'd be so many unseen servants doing all kinds of things. And,
Are you implying wizards aren't?
dude, and prestidigitation to just like you've made a mess of yourself.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Clean.
Oh, dude, that's fucking. It would be a wild time. It would be disgusting.
Wormcraft is a wild time.
Also, when you said Wormcraft, 100% my brain went to like, oh, this is gonna be a Wormwood ad.
Yeah.
Like
Wormwood?
like Wormwood. They make like custom furniture.
Like-
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not go the
No. It caught me off guard. I very much enjoyed the ooze thing.
The ooze one was great.
You
But
know, for the really adventurous playmates out there, they do have toys that are imbued with healing spells. Because sometimes you need a healing spell.
For me, it would be the ones that are the hot and cold ones, where you could change the temperatures. Also, the power of a minotaur, is that like a rotorized one?
Sure.
That was good. I like that. It's also great products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use them every day.
He's ran through so many wands of prestidigitation.
Dude, the wands are so useful.
That's such a funny thing to add on top of that is like like scrolls would have been better because it's like a one-time use. So you got to keep buying scrolls.
Wands are out.
Well, so it's usually if you don't.
Yeah, if you cast them to
use them
zero, they break.
Yeah, if you cast them to zero. Yeah. I think it's funnier to just give out scrolls because it's like a one-time use.
Oh, imagine also the way this company works. The idea is a wand because it has charges. And most wands, when you go to zero charges, that's when the risk of breaking happens.
Yeah.
Imagine they're like, oh, I broke my wand again. It's like, dude, there's 10 charges on this thing.
Yeah.
Like, how often? Give it a day, man.
No. You don't understand. I thought the wand was another toy and I broke it inside. I broke it intentionally.
Well, there's just a healing thing. You could use that.
Yeah.
Get the unseen servant up there.
It's funny. I never thought of an unseen servant that way. I did not. Yeah, 100%. I never thought
Mage
of
hand. Mage hand.
It's way better than if you sit on your hand until it falls asleep.
Yeah. Tired of sitting on your hand until your hand dies?
Use an unseen servant today.
Yeah, use a mage hand.
Oh, mage hand. Oh, yeah.
Well, mage hand's you just can't feel it. So like unseen servant is like
Yeah. That's like something else is moving it.
yeah.
I mean, there might be something that you.
Mage hand is you without the feeling completely. So it really is the ghost hand that you sit on.
Yes. Man, fucking wizards, dude. Wizards are probably the grossest.
We thought it was bards. It's wizards.
It's wizards, dude. Wizards have the ability to be the grossest human beings, or the grossest anything.
Grossest humanoid beings.
Yeah, humanoid beings. That's crazy. It's the creators of fucking Wormcraft. They're just horny wizards.
Well, every once in a while, a wizard's known to polymorph itself to a dragon, and
Well.
Wow. Oh, God. Dude, I look at druids differently.
there is a scene in Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, is there? With druids?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the bear thing, right? That's a meme.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Anyways, world
Yeah,
maps. How do we feel about world maps?
Great.
I love making world maps.
world maps.
Yeah.
I like making world maps. I like it. Also, it's like for me, making the map helps me make the lore for the land.
Sure, yeah.
So like I usually get an idea of what I'm going for, and then and like the idea of the type of world, the lore that I want to put into it, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then I start fucking around making a world map. And then as I'm making the world map, I just have all of these like, fireworks in my mind of ideas and whatnot. I don't think I start writing my world until I have a world map usually.
Really?
Yeah, I think I have the idea of the world and what I want from it and whatnot. But yeah, I don't think I usually start writing it until I have the world map because I think about like distances and how things moved from, like left to right or whatever as it spread across the island continent or island nation. And then like what that would have changed in the world and shit like that.
Yeah.
So like like for me, it's real. It's not that I couldn't. It's like the thing that speeds up my world building is the moment I have a world map, I can world build so quick.
I actually had a little bit of that with when I started building the city for the Kobold Buddy Cop. As I was putting it together, there were like certain things I wanted to just have in the city. Where like,
Sure.
oh, it'd be cool if this city had this particular kind of thing. And that because I wanted to have these kind of pieces in the city, it's like, well, what are the reasons why the city would have this kind of thing in there? Well, the reason why is because there's this level of this thing happening, this level of separation, or this kind of event probably happened in the past in order to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, cool. So like, yes, I have had that like fleshing out of the full story.
Well, and like demographics are easier.
Yeah.
Like, oh, these are mountains. Okay, mountains. Goliaths, dwarves.
Sure.
Mining. Okay, these are woods, elves. Easy. This is like, oh, there's like a lot of water around here. Cool. Maybe sea elves and tritons and shit like
Sure.
that. Like it really just helps me develop if I have a map. I don't need it by any means. Like my Saturday evening campaign, I didn't have a map for the longest time. I still haven't given it to the players. I've had one for ages now. But yeah, I don't need it by any means, but I've just realized that it aids my process so much if like I conceptualize a world and usually even a shape of whatever the world's going to look like shape-wise. And whatever other things are important about my world from my base idea, and make a world map out of that. And then with that world map in mind, complete my world, which is still like 80% of the work, the completing the world. But that 80% goes by way faster when I have the visual of the world map.
Yeah. I remembered a decision I had made where in Lord's Fall, one of the things I had made was the city you guys started out in was like the former capital of the empire that you were in.
I remember that.
And there was like the actual, or like there was the main, what was the new capital. And when I made that decision, part of it was like, oh, where the new capital is a more defensive location. Like there were mountains and there were like certain things that were just kind of like in the location that made it more defensible. It's like, well, if I did make that decision, it then makes certain things harder where like in order to have a thriving, bustling city, you need certain things to kind of be there, or else you have to import everything, which then makes it very hard. If it makes siege tactics way easier because you just cut off supply lines. I was like, okay, well, how do I resolve this? I was like, oh, I'm in a world of magic, whatever. So like in the city, I just had it. So like there was a riverway through the city that was just connected to the plane of water. There was just like their mages created like a tunnel, like a opening, a gateway through the plane of water that just essentially routed a river through the city to go just in and out of the city. That's how they got their fertile land. That's how they got their access to water. And also in cases of emergency, if they needed it, would be food. They just hunted the things that came out of the plane of water.
The gods that come from that plane, Triton gods, just come by and just wipe the city off of the face of the material plane. And it's like, what's going on? It's like, you guys have been shitting in my plane. It was cool. You guys wanted a little passage. I get it. You make a little tunnel, portal here, portal there. Easy, no problem. But the moment you started putting your sewage into the river, I get to you, this is just another fucking river.
Well,
This is my plane.
like, sorry, we thought we were giving you guys food. Who eats that? Who eats that?
Aren't there like fish or something in the plane of water? They eat poop, right?
It was going into my living room, you guys. This is crazy.
Yeah, I've noticed that because I have a world map that I've created back in like 2018 maybe, and I've been using the same thing and I've been building upon it, and then I realized, these tectonics don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
This river placement doesn't make sense.
Sure.
These hills don't make any sense. These mountain ranges don't make sense.
Yeah,
Magic
of course.
and gods. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't even do. I just don't think about it, Morty. If anybody asks me, why are the rivers going this way? I actually have that problem, and it's not been brought up.
Desert in the middle of nowhere where it's surrounded by fertile land. Magic. Yeah, magic.
Oh yeah,
Magic.
some tragic event happened in the past. Some god was angry and he just decided that place is now a desert.
Yeah.
It's
It's my favorite part about map making, actually.
It's a fun thing to do with fantasy map making. Is just like you can just do things. You can just be like.
It's also just the easiest immersion tool. Your whole campaign can take place in one city. But the fact that your DM showed you a world to you makes it feel like there is a world.
Yeah. I also like the world building aspect of it too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I love talking about other places that you'll never go there. But like, I mean, you could. I wouldn't stop you. But like, you'll never go there. I love talking about other places. My campaign, my Saturday evening campaign, I am pretty sure at this point is never going to go to the east, which is like deserts and whatnot. Never going to go there. The entirety of the campaign. So my player party is all foreign to this whole land, right? This whole realm. And they came over like the mountains for like months of travel or whatever to a rumored land, blah, 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 blah. The whole time that they've been here, every time they meet someone new, almost every single time that they meet someone new, they're like, "Oh, you from the East?" And sometimes they've even asked why they're asking that question. Like, "Oh, just the way you dress." "Oh, are you from the East?"
That's
"Oh,
funny.
you just look like an Easterner." That's all. I don't think they're ever gonna go there.
That's funny.
So it's just this weird call to nothingness.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all really fun. Like I didn't make a I don't think I didn't make a map for it. So it's a little bit off topic, but it was still like in one of our Realm Watcher games, I made like a floating city that had just like giant gantry cable wires that like it was
Oh, yeah,
elevators
yeah,
that
yeah,
brought
yeah.
you up into the city, and they're
Was
like
it a floating city? I thought it was like big like cliff pillars.
I think parts of it were floating.
Oh,
I
cool.
think parts of it were floating, parts of it were like cliffside.
It's been so long, and it
It's
was
been
a
a long
one
time.
shot. So like, it's easy to forget one shots.
It was also just a place to have. The combat was a giant flying bird.
Yeah.
Like, cool floating city or high up city
yeah,
flying bird attacks. That's that's cool.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah. But yeah, I also like making city maps too. Like not just.
So I want to ask about city maps because, as far as I know, the only good tools that are out there are generators. So unless you're drawing them, which I wouldn't put past you, Nix, but like I wanted to actually ask Gray about that. Are there any good city building tools that are not just generators? I know there's good generators.
The Cartographer series that I can't seem to figure out for the life of me has a city specific. I'm not sure if it's a map setup program, but they're just few and far between.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I know the one that you use to make all the maps for.
Yeah, like itch.io one.
Yeah,
yeah,
one of
yeah.
those ones. I know that one's like the big one that everybody uses for just about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
it's
when it comes to
really good.
making like actual city maps, there's barely anything. It's
Well, because even map making tools, most of them, the programs, most of them are battle map
Yeah,
makers.
that's
So
another
it's-
problem.
It's like you're at that point you're looking at like very zoomed in locations. There's not really city assets, and a lot of the type of assets would have to be so customizable to be able to make them, and they don't really exist. So like, I guess you just don't make city maps. I don't know how people make city maps other than generating them.
I really want to make a city map for like the one city that my players have been in the most,
Yeah.
which is like the central city in the entire world. And it's like either I have to use one of those that free one, the IO one, which isn't really that good for when you want to customize
Yes.
how things shaped.
Yes, it's
No,
it's hard for
it's
it's hard
a
for
generator.
specifics.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not.
you can't
You
do
can
anything
do
with
some
it.
level of like dragging
Yeah, I know.
areas, but like it's not very good for
Yeah,
that.
I used it for. I did use it once for a short campaign, and
Yeah.
I made a city in the world, and I'm like, this kind of sucks. I'm just gonna take this, overlay it in GIMP, and then just draw it out the way I wanted to, and try to use it as a stencil. And I don't know. I really would like to make city maps. I just had to
I
figure
would
out
like
the best
to.
way to
I
go
just-
about it.
Yeah, I don't know, because so like I love making. I know I'm anti battle map, but I love making world maps.
Yeah.
I would enjoy making city maps. I would absolutely do that, but there's not really anything good for it. Like if you have a really unique city, I have a really unique city that my one of my games is in right now. It's called the Twin Cities. It's like divided into up a mountain with a great ravine in between the two cities. It's technically one city as far as the world is concerned, but they call it the Twin Cities because there's the upper twin and lower twin divided by that ravine.
Yeah.
But like there's no like I'm never gonna be able to make that from the
No.
tool we're talking about.
Like the first few maps that I made for Lord's Fall were all hand drawn.
I think you used itch.io as well.
I did for as soon as we started really getting along in Lord's Fall,
Mm-hmm.
because it got to the point where like you guys like to travel a lot, and I just didn't have time to like put the things together. But there's always like really fun techniques that I see online and stuff where like you get like dice or like objects and you just kind of like scatter them, and like that determines your borders, and that determines like if you have like a D6, that's like your defensive towers or whatever, those like points of interest in your city. So like that stuff is cool, but like that is like you have a piece of paper, you scatter this thing, and then you can then trace that and like scan that into something. Like you scan that into some sort of editing, like image editing software. And then like that's also going to mean that you have to have some understanding of image editing.
Yeah, but at that
software.
point you're an artist and you're drawing it.
Exactly.
Like-
There's a certain skill set that you kind of need in order to explore that route, because it's like like the terrain and the actual like borders of the country. I've used generators for that. I've used like there's like a world terrain generator.
Asgard. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we're
really
like-
good. That's
it's-
the one I use.
Yeah, it's like really fun to be able to like
Asgard.
like that's how I made the borders for Lord's Fall. Was I used one of those things and I just I traced it or I screenshotted it, brought it into
Asgard.
Photoshop, and I traced it, and that's how I made my
Yeah,
map.
that's how I made the initial shape for my world map, was using one of those
Yeah,
random generators.
yeah, because there's when you do like the die scatter or the object scatter thing, you can get some of that like the squiggly edges, as I right now I'm calling them, little squiggly edges. There's something to those generators when you get those, like the edges where the land meets water, and like just the way that line is defined. I don't know, there's something to it. It's like, ooh, that's cool. Like there's just like a cool shape to it. Like it just makes it feel like, oh, this feels more real, or like like an actual place. But yeah, there's an extent to like map making where like if you don't use generators or if you don't use certain things, like you kind of have to have the skill set for it. You kind of have to be a little bit of an artist to like understand the tool set to be able to create the things that you have in your mind.
There's so many skills. This is probably more of a post-game or post-podcast conversation to be had, but there's so many skills. Like, if this is successful, or my online DMing thing is successful to the degree where, like, I have free time and I have money, I would love to go take a voice acting class. I would love to take an improv class. I would love to take an art class.
Sure.
I would love to learn how to draw so that I can not use anything generative, not have to pay anybody. I
Sure.
could just go in and be like, what's your character look like? Cool. Sketch it up real quick, send it to my players and whatnot. Like, I would love to be able to draw. I don't know how. And I'm not going to practice.
I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a really good artist. Like I'm okay. I can roughly draw the things I have in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm not very fast with it. I'm not very quick with the thing. That level of like, oh, my players describe their characters, it would take me a week, if not more, to like let me draw out these characters or whatever. Like that sounds really cool, and I'd love to do something like that, especially knowing that I have the skill set to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But it's also like that's a lot of time and energy in order to be
Well,
able
it's
to
essentially different from what you have. It's a different skill set of like taking other people's
yeah.
concept.
It's also
I think the more you work at it, though, you'd probably get as fast as that as your own concepts.
that is its own skill set too. Is like the people who go to like a boardwalk and just start like draw people really fast, like that level of speed drawing and like execution of like human like.
That's for sure how I would practice it, is just trying to get things out quickly, though.
Yeah, I mean, but again,
I don't care if they're good, and it's going to be quick.
yeah, that's its own level. It's all like different levels of skill.
Yeah.
But we branched out a little bit, but
Yeah.
but still, yeah.
But the purpose of
The
that
purpose
whole
of it-
thing is that I would love to learn how to draw, because I would just draw city maps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And world maps and
I gotta draw a city map, and I guess the hard part is figuring out how much detail I want to be in there,
yeah.
and if I'm gonna label out all the buildings or just the blocks, and then the roads or streets, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
For world maps, I would want to do it in pencil.
I also really like, but the I said this before we started recording, but the tragedy of my friend group is that I have done like castles and dungeons and caves but like none of my players want
No one
to
wants
do
to
any
go
of
in
that.
there. Stop pitching it.
But I like it. I like
no
making
one here likes the dungeons.
I like hidden rooms, and I like
We just like the dragons.
We had a whole podcast episode about not liking dungeons.
You tried your very best for like 15 minutes to be like,
Yeah.
let me talk about dungeons in a positive light.
I tried to steer us into the merits of them, and then realized while explaining the merits of them that there are none.
Yeah, so when you make your world map, just make sure you don't leave the dungeons on there.
Yeah. I'm putting dungeons everywhere.
I would love that. I would love to draw like a Skyrim world map with the little icons and shit everywhere.
You know what? Your Kobold Buddy Cops, the police station is in an abandoned dungeon, okay?
Well, we'll just never go back to station.
That'd be funny.
Lovely. Yeah. City maps, world maps, battle maps.
Yeah, I mean, we can't talk about the other maps because you guys don't like them. The castles and dungeons and like the interior spaces, like the.
I mean, you could.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys don't like them.
You do dungeons, right?
Yeah, I don't do dungeons per se, but interiors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done
I
an
need the
interior
restroom
map.
anyway, so why don't you guys talk about
And
it?
the finale of my last campaign was in like a interior dungeon-y kind of area.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I had to freeze a game that we were playing in Lord's Fall was because I was like, hey, here's this place that your guys are going, like this guy's house. And like, oh, we just want to walk by. At least this is what my player said.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, hey, we're going to teleport inside. I was like, you what? All right. I guess you're inside this fucking building now. And then it was too many questions got asked too quickly. And my mind froze. And I was like, hey, put a pin in it.
Well, you see, well, that's, I mean, like, that's where the pencil and paper type map comes into play the best. Where something just happened, you don't have anything actually prepared for it, but if you take like the 5 minutes to just draw it out, you can think about where everything is at the time. Like that's what kind of like what I used to do with I don't know if we all did it, maybe we all did it, but during Realm Watchers, we would get the whiteboard and we'd make the area and be like, okay, this is this and this and this and this.
We
and
did
this.
that a lot. Like, because I did that in Lord's Fall. Like where I think we had a projector set up and I was like drawing on it. We also drew on the maps a lot. And when we early Realm Watcher games, we did. And I think even later on.
Yeah, we had two whiteboards.
Yeah,
We had
a
one
bunch
for
of
the map
whiteboards
and then we had
and
one for the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would sketch out a lot of stuff. I mean, I think for me at least, in that one thing I was talking about where I put a pin in the game because I didn't have the interior space built for the location they're in. It's because what they were dealing with to me as I was, writing the story that they were taking a part in or the world that they were taking a part in, there was so much stuff in there that could have implications with the rest of the world and the rest of the story I was trying to tell. So if you were just in there and I just started making up stuff, I didn't feel like I could connect things good enough. So I just kind of panicked. And I was like, hey, let me have time because I want to make it the best I could. So like, hey, let me put a pin in it so I can come back to it. Give me a week because I want to thread things in a lot better. I want to have things so like you guys look in a drawer and there's a letter that this guy wrote to this person over here that has all these consequences to like it then implicates him into these other events. And like, to me, just like, I don't know if I could come up with that stuff on the fly. I don't know if I could just like, I could, but to me, it wouldn't be as strong of a storytelling piece. If I had the week, I can flesh it out way better and I can integrate things way better. So like, at least that's, when that happened where I didn't have that interior space, I didn't have the things you could find. Like, I just wanted it. I wanted it for me as like just the storyteller.
I did it to a degree. That's fine.
Yeah.
As far as finding a letter in the drawer, I do shit like that all the time. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I like abusing myself as a DM.
What does
But,
it
like,
say?
No, not even that. Like, so you'll get the letter and I'll improv what it says or who it's to or whatever. And then the entirety of the implications of the letter, I'm like, and that's future DM solves problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel like I could do that, and I probably think I have done it on occasion. I just like being able to sit down and think about like how far and how subtly I can apply things and like try to make it so it's not so obvious, to make it like it's a little bit of a clue in its own way. Like the characters kind of have to break it, like it's its own code, and like how much does that connect deeper into the different things that are happening in the world? I don't know. Like I have fun with that too. As much as like I have fun making the maps, I also have fun like doing all the like implications of certain things.
Oh, I love doing that too. I do a lot of it by burying myself in a session and then having to prep for it in between. Like I have I hope they never hear this, or at least before it comes to fruition. But I have players that they came into the possession of luggage. That's all that really matters to the story.
Sure.
And they were going through the luggage, and I described everything that was in it, and they were hoping for more clearly, and then they were like, oh, I'm going to check the inseam of the luggage to see if there's something there or whatever. And I was like, they clearly want something to be there, and they would think it's cool.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, yeah, it's like peeling up. And then they peel it up, and I'm like, yeah, there's like in the luggage, there's like a grid of like little wooden pieces, and as you touch them, they're a little bit loose. One of them is extremely loose. I'm like, oh, can I take it out? Yeah. They take it out. It's like, after you take that one out and you start touching the ones around it, the other ones kind of slide around. So it's like a puzzle.
Sure.
And they've been trying to build it. And I already have in my head what the answer to the puzzle is, which is inside, there's a key. I don't know what it's to. I don't know what that key goes to. It'll have to be big, whatever it is, because they're taking ages to solve this fucking puzzle box. So, but I love the idea that they're going to get through the puzzle box and then there's a key.
Yeah.
I don't care what it's to. I don't know what it's to. It's going to be to something. It's going to be big. Maybe there's an address etched onto the key. I don't know what that address is. I don't know what's there. It's going to have to be something.
Sure.
I'll wait till they find the key.
Yeah.
Then I'll start thinking about it.
That's funny. I've had like I built a map where there was a hidden room, where there was an item. I'm pretty sure I've said this before in another episode, where there was an item that was essentially like a sentient object that was Kashi the Deathless inside the sentient object that would give like a boost to the players, and then at some point when the player who had it was strong enough, Kashi would take over their body. But he'd keep them alive until they got that strong. So like it would give you like boons or whatever. But like I made it in a room. I had a little whatever map that it was hidden in. And there was a really good chance that you guys went to this place and never found it.
Yeah.
It was just never discovered. And also, even if the hidden room was discovered, you guys would never pick up the object. And even if you picked up the object and it started talking to you, easily just put it back down.
So like I'm the opposite way though. So I wouldn't even write the room. And then my players would be like, is there any secret compartments? And I'm like, I don't know, roll high enough. All right, there's a secret compartment. What's in there? I don't know. An object. All right. Is it magical? Make an Arcana check. Critical success. Yeah, it seems to be Arcana. And then in my head, I'm like, I don't know. Is it sentient?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then then between sessions, I'd be like, what if it was Kashi the Deathless? I just write none of it, you know?
I think I just had like a bastardization of like Critical Role, like season 1. They had like, there was a sentient sword.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, that's fun. That's a fun idea to play with. Like I have a sentient object.
Yeah.
And then I had recently like listened to a fucking myths and legends podcast where
go ahead.
We're Kashi.
Yeah. To bring it back to Theater of the Mind maps instead, like, and that level of improv that I'm talking about, it allows for that, where like my players needed an answer to a problem that they had in the city that they were in. And I was like, well, you can't solve it here, because I wanted them to leave anyway. And then they're like, well, where could we solve it? And then they tried to investigate, and then they found someone to tell them where to solve it. I got to make something up. Go to the Twin Cities. I had nothing planned. There was no Twin Cities.
Sure.
And then they got to the Twin Cities, and I'm like, okay, why is it called the Twin Cities? I need to figure this out. Why is it the Twin Cities? And then I started describing it, and like all of it was improv through explanation and descriptions and blah, blah, blah. and it made this beautiful thing. But if I had a map, it would be a totally different thing. So like, it would have been cool. I would have prepared it. It would have been neat, sure. But the fact that I did it through improv and had to be reactionary and blah blah blah, ended up painting a beautiful picture.
Sure.
You know? So like,
I don't think
so fuck maps, you know?
I don't think there's anything like I think that is a cool thing to do. Like it is a cool thing to like just kind of go, just let your mouth talk and
Yeah.
your brain just kind of react and build a thing. But also, I just like sitting down with it. I in the same way that I like sitting down
both,
making like world maps.
Yeah.
When I made the 3-tiered city, I was like, that was cool. I liked having a city where there was an upper level, there was a middle level that was like kind of like
Sure.
whatever, and then there was an underground tier, and then I made reasons, and I had like a history, and I had events, and I had like a religious structure, and I had all this stuff that it just because I was able to sit down and like take the time to build out the city and like the maps for it and like
Sure.
how it integrated into the overarching like empire that it was a part of, like. And I could have, if that was all improv, you could have easily come up with something just as neat.
I just think, like, I don't know. I mean, it's so personal to my style of DMing and the way my brain works,
Sure.
obviously. So, like, I'm not by any means actually saying fuck maps or putting down on it at all.
No, you've been saying that this whole time.
People enjoy playing on maps. People enjoy making maps. I think it's great. Or people even enjoy just collecting maps and then bringing them out from their back pocket. For me, I think I just have such a love of improv
Sure.
and the freedom that it gives me as the DM. I think that's why I, as a DM, am kind of,
Yeah.
I lean heavily into anti-map. I don't want to make them. I don't want to prep them. I don't want to find them. I want to improv them. As a player, I think I'm indifferent.
Yeah.
I sit in between. I'm indifferent. I think it's very fun to play on the map. I think it's very fun to play Theater of the Mind. I think they're just different.
Yeah.
As a DM, I don't want to make maps.
I like making maps as a DM if I have the time. If I don't have the time, then like, yeah, then it's like we're in struggle bus hours and I'm just like, we're all improv in the Theater of the Mind. Hey, this is what we got going on. Because
It's Realm Watchers. I wrote this campaign an hour ago. I definitely didn't make maps for it.
Yes. Yes. If it's just like, if I have no time and I got to throw something together, yeah, ain't no.
We
ain't no
didn't
maps.
make any maps for Realm Watchers. It was all upon occasion. I know Gray did it. I think I did it.
For your
Two
first
or-
game, my first game.
I think I did it 2 or 3 times where
In the beginning,
I
we
had
did.
a reference on my phone and that's what I drew out on the whiteboard. And I remember Gray did that a couple of times too, where you had a reference on your phone and then we're like checking it and then drawing it on the whiteboard.
I also remember having, I think it was a Realm Watcher game. I think I remember having a Blender map, like a 3D map of one of the places we were at. Nope, that was Lord's Fall. That was not Realm Watchers.
I don't recall.
You had a map for your first game, and I had a map for my first game as well.
What was my map for my first game?
It was a map. I remember there being a map. That was our longest game. That was our first one too.
I don't think I remember.
Oh yeah, we went to different houses because we could see them as we were like walking in.
I don't think I remember having a map. Did we play in person?
No, it was through Zoom.
And I had a map?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think you had a map.
And then I did mine on Roll20.
Yes, we had to figure all that
I do
out.
remember doing yours on Roll20 and having to figure out Roll20, yeah.
Yeah, and then that the mountain man.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were in his like little house. We were like our little tokens. We were dragging around.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
remember that.
The first a lot of the big chunk I think of the first like couple Realm Watcher games were maps, and we're still like because we slowly went away from it into the Theater of my stuff. That was not like a overnight progression.
Yeah.
We slowly started converting back like over from like pen and paper.
And we were better off for it. I did really enjoy the whiteboard. We did the same thing. G&G was like whiteboard when it needed to be.
Yeah, Gray brought it up earlier. We had like 2 whiteboards. We had like the one whiteboard for like the overall map, and then we would like draw
Yeah.
on the table. We would draw like the individual like battle maps
Yeah.
on our like hex grids and
Mm-hmm.
square grids. We used to, God, that's another thing. We hex all the way. Hex grids are my thing. I don't like square grids.
Oh yeah, talking about maps.
Yeah.
Hex. The only reason why I do square is because I think people are more familiar with it, and Foundry handles it better.
Yeah.
Ghost just opened up our door.
Yeah, it really did. But yeah, hex all the way.
Yeah.
I wish it was octagons because the wait no.
No, hexagon's the
Hexagons are the
bestagon.
bestagons, not octagons. Yeah,
Yeah.
hexagons are the best.
Hexagon's the bestagon.
Hexagons are the bestagon. Yeah.
I prefer squares for some reason.
You like
Probably-
squares?
Probably because of like my experience with like older games like Final Fantasy Tactics or XCOM. They all use like the square grid stuff.
Huh.
So
I think
Fire Emblem and all that.
I think as soon as I moved away from squares and I started using hexes, I was like, I don't know if I can go back.
No, I like not being like. I like the way that like surrounding someone works, moving diagonally.
Yeah. Not that weird like, oh, you want to move 15 feet. Well, it's one up
5
and then
foot,
to the
10
left,
foot,
and
5
then
foot,
it's
10 foot.
a couple over here, and then it's just, and then you move. Technically, that's not quite 15. This is all right. But I don't like this.
Oh, I don't need to do any of that. They're all just 5 foot.
Yes,
That's the way I.
That's
rule
what
it.
what I have devolved it to because there's a weird. It's not that.
I
weird.
believe diagonally is 5 foot, 10 foot, 5
Yes.
foot, 10 foot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that you could change out on Foundry to be something like that, but
Nah, pass.
I've changed it, and it's opened up some interesting consequences for some people. And they've-
Yeah, because you technically move faster by moving the diagonals.
yeah, so now
Right.
they move slower.
Oh, they move slower.
Because you 5 foot, 10 foot, 5 foot, 10 foot.
Because one of my
Moves
players
you
wanted
slower.
to be a funny guy and fight someone that he was not strong enough to fight on his own. And so now that I changed the way you move diagonally on the map, he's moving slower.
Oh, I thought you moved away from, not to. Like I thought you were like, oh, it's not calculating the 510 thing.
No, he figured out a way to calculate.
Oh,
it.
okay. That's fucked.
I remember when I was doing my Monster Arena thing and you joined.
Yeah.
So like height was obviously a thing and you could mark the height.
Yeah.
And you had a moment of being like, oh, are we not going to calculate me moving diagonally down towards someone? And I was like, nope, 10 foot down, 10 foot over. That's 20 feet of movement.
Yeah. I remember that.
We're not busting out Pythagoras and shit.
Yeah, because if you could move a lot more diagonally,
You could.
you can cover a lot more ground.
Not in this world, baby. You
Uh,
move down and then you move over.
That's great. If you didn't calculate it, you just zigzag everything. So you just
Oh, there are 4 directions: up, down, left, and right.
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't know you preferred squares.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought most people preferred hexes. That's cool.
By default, all of the VTTs are squares still.
Yeah.
And most people run that on default that I've seen.
What is Baldur's Gate?
Squares.
Squares?
Mhm.
Okay. I gotta play that game.
I wonder if there's a setting in Baldur's Gate to change it to hex.
That would be so much. That's a
I
fundamental change.
imagine there's a mod that could do it. I mean, with PC, there's mods for everything. They've added so much shit and removed shit and rebalanced shit. There's probably someone out there who's like, I really want Baldur's Gate to have hexes and to be a lot more like 5th edition than it is already. So
As far as I'm aware, like the math to calculate
Oh,
certain
it'd be
things
so much.
is like so
Yeah.
crazy. Like, granted, Timberborn, my favorite game of all time. It's all squares. It's all like it's a square grid, volume up and down squares. I fucking love it. Feels hexes though.
actually, no, Baldur's Gate doesn't use squares. It's it calculates real distance.
Yeah, it's real. I thought I remember it.
Yeah,
being-
yeah,
That's what I would have expected.
It's real distance.
I
It's
don't
like
know why I thought it was hex,
also
been a
like
long
the
time.
maps.
but yeah, it's real distance, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
I feel like we're classically moving into
Yeah, this is real post show.
Yeah, so thanks for listening to Take the Damage podcast maps.
Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about maps real quick before we out?
I think I'm good.
All right, cool. That was fun.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Take the Damage podcast. Maps. I'm Sav. You can catch any of my links in the description. I run games over on startplaying.games. If you would like to join one of my campaigns or reach out for a custom campaign or starting a campaign. Yeah, links in the description. Thank you.
I'm Nix. I'll have my link in the description to my YouTube and some Timberborn videos on there. There's a couple animations. I'll get to it. It's, I'll add more stuff. But
I believe in you.
yeah, right now it's just a YouTube link and there's some old videos if you want to check them out.
I'm Greythorn. I also haven't been doing anything on my channels because, I got to figure out how to get a game going
Ooh.
when everyone's schedules are all frigged up. But yeah, my old games are there. Watch the intermission campaign with all the maps, with all the big, beautiful maps.
What's it called again?
His Will Internal. Intermission Session 2. Intermission Campaign 2, His Will Internal.
Yeah, you can't miss Gray's BBMs.
Yeah,
his
big, beautiful maps.
Love it. All right. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.